Comrades, I am Admiral Andre, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. It's a lovely morning here at the Kerbal Space Center, as always, of course, and it is time for the next step in the Apollo build, because there is a moon landing that must be made. Of course, once we get to the moon, we want to move around a little bit. I know it's really only for the later Apollos, Apollo 15 and up, of course, but we need a rover. We need a way to get around and explore the environment. So today we're going to be building the Lunar Roving vehicle, or the Lunar Roving vehicle in our case, although I suppose you could use it for Minmus or Duna or really anywhere else for that matter. So in this case we'll be building inside the spaceplane hangar for the first time really. So of course first we have to make our customary stop in Google Images and all that, and then we'll get back into it. So see you in a moment, comrades. So comrades, this is an excellent image here. This is of course on Wikipedia again, but from this angle we can see a great deal of detail of the Lunar Roving vehicle. Now it's going to have to be those flat panels that we use to recreate the base of the craft. We can see here that it's very thin, and it sort of does go in on the side there by the wheel. So this part here must jut out a little bit. Then of course we have the two seats, and there's some equipment stored on the back here. Now I think for our purposes this is where I'll put the batteries. I have no idea where the batteries were on this craft, but that does seem to be the logical place. Of course they also place their equipment and all sorts of things here on the back. Then there was, of course, the main antenna here. That will have to be one of those small high-gain antennas. So, of course, the dish here is a little bit bigger than the one we have, but it's the only one that can fold, of course. Then there was a small television camera here that I'm just going to use one of those spider engines to recreate. They also have this whole equipment set up here on the side, but I don't think I'm going to recreate this aspect of it. We'll have a look. It doesn't seem like that will really be very practical for us. So practicality, of course, has to be the overriding concern as always. Let's have a look at the information here. Of course, there's a great deal of information, but we see that the Lunar Roving vehicle weighed about 210 kilograms. Now, our one is going to weigh a lot more than that, which is one of the reasons that placing it onto the LEM is going to be very difficult. Then, okay, it speaks about 1/6 of the G and all of that. Wheels and power. So it seems also here, if I just see where did I find that now, the front and rear wheels would turn in opposite directions to achieve a tight turning radius of 3 meters, or could be decoupled so only the front or rear would be used for steering. I think in our case we're only going to use the rear wheels for the actual power or the drive, because otherwise this craft is going to go too fast, and that's always a problem in a low gravity environment. Other than that, in terms of the actual steering, I'm not sure. We'll probably go for both front and rear wheels, but otherwise just the front wheels. I'm not sure. At the test that I did, well, the scale might have been a bit off, because if the wheels on the back turned, they would actually clip into the batteries in the back. So we'll have to see about that then. Let's just see, is there any other image that we would like to investigate? Possibly this one, if it will load now. I'm not actually uploading anything, so it should go a bit faster. Let's actually have a look at it. So it's again a whole lot of information to get to the image. There's the camera. So this I'll use that spider engine for. Now that's on the front there on the left side. Then the antenna is on the right side of the front. So that's going to be the way I will also do it. I'll put another antenna on the back there. We can clearly see there is another antenna there, but all this loose wires and all of that I won't bother with, of course. Let's just have a look at the other images again. Yes, so at the back you can clearly see there's things happening there. Other than that, it's a very plain craft, so it's going to be relatively easy to recreate. I just want to have a look again at this information. Just want to see, so the range was greater than 35.9 kilometers, so I think 2 of the big battery packs should do, but of course we don't have solar panels or anything like that on this craft, so we will be limited by the range of the batteries. There was something else I wanted to see here. There was a diagram somewhere. I think, yes, I opened it up already. So in the back here we can see there was another stereo camera. But since I'm not going to be using the whole cam mod for this, we'll just again use the engine there. But I don't think in the back it will be necessary. But we can see there's a magnetometer here. So we'll put some, scientific instruments and so on the back just to make it look the part. And of course then it's useful if you want to use it for a campaign, exploration of a lunar body or some other moon then. Then if we have a look, there's a lunar drill as well, but this was not like, a deployable arm or something. This is what I guess the astronauts used for a tool. This was their tool carrier after all. So yes, there's a lunar brush bag. I don't know what that was for. I assume if the dust started covering everything. And that's a handheld camera there. Not going to worry with that, I think. Camera mags, 16mm cameras, low gain antenna. So it seems like there, but here it seems swapped around. The antenna is on the right side. I'll rather put the other low gain antenna on the back there, like that other image showed. Now this one again doesn't have that. I wonder if they were separate kinds of lunar rovers or if they changed them slightly. See, what about this one? There we can clearly see the low gain antenna on the back. So I'll be using sort of that kind of model. This is Apollo 17. Comrades, let's get to work. This should be, I'll of course refer back to this the whole time, but this should be relatively straightforward. So with that said, where do we begin? I think it will have to be with the structural tab and with these structural panels, the new ones from the Making History expansion. We are not going to be using this rover on its own, so it won't have any probe cores. So when we deliver it to the moon, we'll just have to remember that. I think we'll start with the smallest panels. That would be the SPS-06. So this is of course a great addition to the game. I think, now of course, let's just see if I can't actually replicate that. Just 2 like that. I think this will be the width of the main section of the rover here. Let's just go to the external command seats. Of course, this will be our very important feature here. Now, of course, the problem with this is I can't use 2 of them, because this is not in symmetry here. So I think we'll have to rethink this a little bit. What if I go like this? Even then I can't do symmetry. That's a shame. Can we do something about that? Well, we'll just have to remember that it's not in 2 times symmetry. It's a pity. I'll just place them individually. Now that will be enough space for the seats, I think. So we'll probably use only 2 of those, and then we start to go narrower again. Let's just see if that works. That's the basic outline, I think. This is not very fancy, of course, but we're trying to keep it as minimalistic and as simple as possible. Now already this gives us 80 kilograms here. So let's just see if we put on the wheels. What would this imply for us? Of course it's upside down now. Just want to see what it will look like. Of course the wheels are a bit too low here, I think. Let's move it up a bit. No, it still has to touch that side. Well, then we'll put it in the middle like that, more or less. Let's just create a rough outline here. Now, of course, if we put the seats on next, let's just get a feel for this thing. Just flip this around, of course. What's the next step here? Well, I think the next step has to be the aft section here, because that will really help us to determine the scale. Now, in the test that I did, I used one of these modular girder segments, which I almost never use normally, and I placed it horizontally like this. This is why I also didn't use the aft wheels for steering here. Let me just try this. I just want to see what it looks like. Actually, I think what we need first is some back panels here. Of course, this will look a little bit out of scale there. Let's just make sure it snaps there so it fits very nicely. Then I just want to move them down as well. As low as it can go there. Like that. Now if I just refer back to the images, there was a definite backing there to the seats, but now I'm wondering if that wasn't just because of the batteries and all of that. There was definitely a panel, but now I'm actually looking at a Lego model, which is not always the best thing. This is again the Wikipedia image. There's definitely like a white panel on the back there that sort of separates the seats from whatever is going on the back there. Now I'm not sure if this is really the best way to go about it. You see, the top of the panel is about the height of the seat, and it's a bit further back as well. Maybe there's something else we could use for that. Let's play around with this a bit. I suppose no matter which way I slice it, we're going to end up with the same thing again. Well, what if we just use the modular girder segment? Let me just try this again. Maybe if we just place the actual things that we want to place, we can create that look anyway. So now in this case I just have to do a rough guess here. I suppose we can try putting it like that for now. Of course, the higher I put it, the more out of place it's going to look. Let's try this for now. Of course, the reason I like this thing is because we can fit lots of things into it, especially the batteries. So let's just have a look at those batteries. I want to use the Z400s. I think if you look at that already, how massive they are, if we can put two of them next to each other like this, you see it fits very nicely into this modular girder thing here, and that sort of creates our backing then. So let's just move this forward. Sort of like that. I might move the whole thing a bit back though. Just so it doesn't clip into that main panel there. Bit higher as well. Bit lower again. So finicky. There we are, finally. So then if I just take the seats, I want to test this whole thing out, of course. Just want to see that nobody's clipping into that back part there. And of course this whole thing has to now be redone so that it actually sits nicely here. The snapping has absolutely no effect though. So this I'm going to have to guess. I'm going for that middle stripe there, just to make sure that it's sort of centered on this panel. Not quite, not quite. Okay, let's just try that. Then the next thing I want to put on is, of course, the antenna on the front right, if we look at it from the front. So this will have to be the high gain antenna. It's really the only thing that makes sense. If we use anything else like the relay antenna, that's more the size. I'm not sure though. But the thing is, then we have to build like a tower made of struts here, and it's not going to look very nice, and it certainly won't fold up very nicely. So I think this one is still the best option. Now let's just see if I can... put it on like that. No, it's still not quite right. So even though the wheels now fold here, it still doesn't make it very practical to attach this to the lander. I guess that's as close as we can get it there. So of course once this deploys, it will sit like that. Now in this case the dish is actually pointing forward, but this is one of those compromises I think that we have to make. To get this pointing up, the whole thing will have to be angled, and then it's not going to look so nice. Now if I just want to see again that camera thing. So it sits on like a block there. So let's just go and grab one of our friends again, the cubic struts. Gotta breathe, gotta remember to breathe when I'm doing this. It's crazy. I think that's good though. Now as for the camera, I don't have the Holcam mod installed, but if you do have that, of course this would be an excellent place to put one of those cameras. But for us, because this is now pure stock parts, we're just going to use something to simulate that camera. And of course the best thing is the LV1R Spider liquid fueled engine. Of course we won't be using this engine for anything. It's there purely for the effect, you know. It sort of does look a little bit like an old school television camera. So let's just make sure this thing is centered nicely. And not sure. Perhaps like that there. So I don't want to put anything else on the front here. If I again go back to the images, it's pretty bare bones on this rover, obviously to save weight and all of that. So it's literally just the camera and the antenna on the front. There's sort of folding things there as well, like it almost looks like little strips of cloth or something, but that's very much impossible to recreate. I suppose this is where it was attached to the LEM. That would make sense, I think. Let's see, is there anything else I could learn from this? Of course, there's the back antenna there and all the other things like the magnetometers and all of that. But you see, we can now actually place this inside the modular girder segment here, and it will look quite nice. The only problem is of course with the turning, because when we turn here it's going to clip into this. Now you don't have to use this modular girder segment, and maybe we should try something else. It does look kind of nice though. I don't know. Let's try something else though. Let's throw this thing off for a moment. Let's experiment. Let's see, what could I use? Obviously I need something to attach the batteries to. That would have almost the same height though. Something that's not quite so high. What about this? Just experiment, that's always the key. Like that. Also, the other thing is, if I just refer back to the images again, it looks like if we want to stay sort of true to the real thing, although it's very difficult to say because of the grey of the lunar surface, but it would seem, I don't know, this image does seem more white though. I'm just thinking, what color should the panels be? The grey or sort of the dark, what they call dark, is it seems to be more reflective of the real thing, but there's some images where it looks actually like it's more white though. Maybe we'll keep it white, I'm not sure. This is very, again, pedantic, but doesn't really matter. Now, can I find a nice way to attach that there? It's a very interesting design here, very non-conventional, but maybe that's a good thing. If I compare this to the height of a panel, we can see that's much lower, so I would rather take that, but now there's no way to round that off nicely. Everything else will be bigger. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we can try this. Now the only question is, how do we attach the batteries? Now of course I can't do it in symmetry again. Okay, just get rid of this. What if we do it so that it sort of fits the outline right there? But can we still turn the wheels though? That's the question. Probably not. Probably not. Let me just see if I have another one here. Now clipping them into each other is not what I want. Although the battery itself ends there with that grey area there, so this is just the base of the battery. That can clip into each other, I suppose. Not too sure yet. That does look a bit strange, but then again it's the Admiral touch, we could argue. I just want to test this whole thing. Let's just throw a probe core on it for now and just see what happens. Of course we have this engine, but I can't tell it not to show it there, so it's going to unfortunately be with us. I'll just turn the gimbal and the thrust limiter off. So yes, oh, the other thing, comrades, I made a new flag. I wonder if I can see it there in the back. I was thinking, after all, maybe the ADB would be better instead of the ABD, but now I've taken the South African Air Force flag and I've just sort of messed around with it to insert the ADB there instead of their logo, because then again it sort of highlights the fact that I am from South Africa, so it's a, you know, it's another nuance there. Oh well, we can see how that one goes. Let's just test this thing, comrades. Now of course there's not too much to test here. I just want to see the wheel turning. Yes, you see it's clipping into it there. So how far could we go? I would say basically at the in line with this strut there almost. We'd still have a slight bit of clearance. So really what I want to do is move the wheels inwards a little bit, because I think they're jutting out too far at the moment. So then this battery setup is not going to work. Let's just see if we drive the thing around. Now this is also crazy. You see, oh good grief, no. We can't have a situation like that on the moon. So I'm going to turn this the motor off on, no, not on the back, on the front. That will help to sort of limit the speed a little bit. Yes, that's much better. We don't need to be going too fast. Yes, that's much more stable. So I guess we'll keep the dual steering here, although the problem with that is still, if you're going a little bit too fast and you make a turn like this, you're definitely going to flip. You can see how sharp the turn is, just like that. And then it's goodbye Lunar Rover. But then again, let's keep it. So I'm just going to revert now, comrades, and we can work from there. Okay, so I think let's throw this whole thing away. Let's start from scratch. Let's just see what we can do here. Now, one thing I would also like to maybe do is move this a bit further towards the center. Now, if I just go back to the images again. Now, the wheels do jut out though, but not very much. Actually, it's wider than the central plate there. So maybe I don't want to move it in. No, but it is about the middle of the front plates there. Okay, this is what we can try. Let's not move it in then, but what if we move it a bit like this? No, then it's definitely going to hit the thing when it does the turning. No. So let's put it there in line with the... oh, good grief, the perspective changes. In line with that little edge there. Because then we can match it with the back. Okay, it'll have to be like that, comrades. I think this still keeps that appearance of the real thing. Now the problem is the back. The back. What do we do there? If I go back to the images again. That looks like a folding panel though. Where is that big image? It's very difficult to say. Because practically now we do need large batteries on this thing. We're not going to go far with small batteries. That's not going to work. And I'm not going to put solar panels on this thing. So how do we solve this problem? What if I just put the battery on? Let me just go back again to the images. This one is now from a side view, so it's again difficult to say. But it does go narrower towards the back. You know, it almost looks like, if I just get a panel here, we can also lose the probe core. It's almost like the panel is attached back there. It's like it would fold open, you know. But now, then, of course, we still have to attach the other things to the back of that. I don't like that. The other panel, again, looks more like it's that height almost. I'm very tempted to go back to the cubic girder segment thing again. That will of course eliminate the steering on the back wheel, so maybe not. How long would one battery like this last? Probably long enough, to be honest. Okay, let's just try again. I just wish we could have a... No, I don't want a gold panel. Just something small to attach it to. Maybe I will use this. Not that color though. Then turn this on its side, sort of in the middle again. The triangle shape doesn't really work though. No. It's very difficult because we always have to work inside the confines of KSP itself. Okay, let's try this again. It is too tall, but at the end of the day, if I can just get things to look quite decent here, then I'll be happy. So if we have the battery pack here, because I still want to leave room for the equipment and all of that behind the battery. That's why I don't want to put the battery on the back there. Okay, this is again where the modular girder segment was so useful, because now where do we put the equipment? I also want to use the surface scanning module just because I think it looks interesting for a rover. But now again, that's the issue. Now they have a magnetometer, but I think we'll just throw on all of these seismic accelerometers and all of those things. Maybe we could even just attach it to the back here. Of course, I don't want it sticking out the bottom there. Difficult. Although I suppose something like that would not be too terrible. Let's try the rest of the equipment first. We can't attach anything to the battery or to the surface scanning module, so maybe here we could use one of the smaller struts. just sort of say this is one of those, you know, mobile attachment things that they could fold up before attaching the rover to the LEM. What about the rest of it? Let's see, if I throw this on here, that shouldn't interfere with anything. You know, we could even throw a mystery goo thing on here, but that might be too much. Thermometer. Don't know if I like this. I like the neatness of the modular girder thing. I'll show you the... I'll keep this, of course. Let's just save this for now. For this, I'll say tutorial Lunar Roving Vehicle, MHE, as is our convention now. Now I'll just open the one that I did for a test. I showed this in another video as well, very briefly. I even tried making a lunar cord as well, but that's very much an early work in progress. So we'll say merge with this. Now that is what the this attempt of mine looked like. You can barely... Okay, it's very... maybe we should just load the thing. I did save the other one now. Otherwise we can't see anything. There. So in this case I used the dark grey panels. I'm not sure what looks better. I'm now actually liking the dark grey again. But then on the back, of course, we have this modular girder thing, and then everything fits inside of that. Now this is not very realistic, because I know they didn't have something like this. The whole thing is supposed to fold up very nice and neat and all of that. But it was just such a convenient thing to fit all of the equipment in. There's even a mystery goo thing there as well. So I guess in that sense it is more usable for a career or a science playthrough. But so we have our equipment on this side as well, and everything fits in very neatly. So now making that work without this girder thing is maybe a bit of a challenge. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, these panels on the back here actually can work. Because if I look at the way that the seats look on the actual rover, they have sort of a mesh backing there, a square mesh backing. Not like this with just this sort of oval shaped, I don't know what that is, just sort of a pipe grid thing there that they sit in. So this sort of creates the illusion of this actually being the back of the seat. So I think we can use this. Then of course it's just messing around with the back there. But let's go back to the one that we built now. I can show you the lunar cord as well. This is of course a ridiculously early concept still. But yes, something in that line. Of course the thing doesn't actually close here. The lid of this sort of tub almost. Now where is our one? There. Of course I'm not going to use the other one because this is the one that we built together. But I did want to try it out before I started recording just to see what this thing would roughly look like. Now if we do go back to using this on both sides. And of course I'll have to play around with the alignment now. And with the seat placement. I think that can actually work. But let's go with the white because I think that is more accurate. It looks very grey because on the moon everything looks very grey, but you can see it is lighter than the lunar surface. So yes, we're having a half-hour debate about the paint of the the lunar rover, but that's how this thing goes. Is that aligned? Yes. Now the seats are too far back now. Also, we'll just have to test this thing with actual Kerbals on it because I don't want them clipping into each other or their helmets or anything like that. Okay, so roughly like that. Now what about the back, comrades? What about the back? Because we rarely see an image of the rover from the back, although there is one. Now what do we see here? It looks like bags almost on the back. I want to say it almost looks like they have two of these, but much smaller next to each other. Now this wouldn't work though. If we have something like that and then put batteries and things into that, maybe. Because we'll have the same problem again. This is all supposed to, of course we can't fold it up at all, but it's supposed to look like at least it's not too bulky. Oh well, it's obviously not going to be exact here. So let's just try again as we had it before with a battery sitting like that. Still, the camera controls in the spaceplane hangar, I don't know. It's probably because I rarely use the spaceplane hangar, but it's a bit clumsy sometimes. Okay, let's keep this. Now, what do we need as well? All that we really need here at the end of the day is the rest of the equipment. We don't need a barometer and all of this, of course, but we can attach them. I think maybe these struts will actually work because they are sort of looking like they could fold down, even though, of course, they can't. We can do this in symmetry. Just to give us something to attach equipment to. Is that the orientation? Yes. So what else do we need? Of course the accelerometer. And let's throw on a thermometer as well for good measure. And of course the final piece is the gravioli detector. Now I don't know if we should put it there close to the wheels. Let's put it on top. Although now that I'm thinking about it, I don't like how this stuff is hanging off the back here. Let's move it into the strut there. Just see what that looks like. I like that better. Of course it will... Oh, good grief. It will still be accessible if you just move your camera into the thing. You can, of course, put it on shortcut keys as well. Just want to move the strut out a little because they are clipping very slightly into each other. Although I suppose that is unavoidable. Okay, that's a bit better. Now, as for these things, let's put them in between there. Although, again, it's the same problem. That looks a bit not good. Junk status. We can attach it to the back here. I think that does work a little bit better because it doesn't give that rigid block shape that the other one had, which of course we couldn't fold up. We can still have some slight suspension of disbelief that all these things are somehow supposed to fold into each other. Let me just get rid of all this junk. Oh yes, what about the surface scanning module? This could again be useful if you're looking for resources and all of that. What if we put that across the top? Now again, there is no way that we can make this thing look exactly accurate. That is impossible because the whole thing cannot fold up and all of that. Now where did they have their drill thing? It was on the other side, I think. Camera. Actually, the magnetometer thing did hang off the back. Stowage bags. Now, of course, we don't have stowage bags. And we now come back to how we had it before. Okay, wait, I can work with this. Let me just move that stuff out of the strut there. So a lot of bumbling in this episode, comrades, because for this kind of thing, we can't get a clear view of it in the first place, and even if we could, there's no way we can replicate it. So just finding a balance, that's the challenge. So it's still sort of plausible, but it's Kerbal. It's impossible. Start over. It's hopeless. Get rid of it. Let's try the 2 again. Now I have to move the camera and all of that again. Okay, that will work. Now we need of course we don't have a magnetometer, but we pretend the gravioli will suffice for the function of that. So let's put this on the back, hanging off there. So that's what the diagram is suggesting. Then we'll also put the accelerometer off the back here. Then we'll leave, oh no, let's get rid of that. Barometer again we don't need, but we can pretend they're looking at the trace atmosphere on the moon. Although that doesn't look nice because the thermometer is very narrow and that's more blocky and wide, so they look unbalanced there. But this we can sort of fit in a way here without clipping too much into the equipment. Okay, this can work, What about then using the barometer up on the strut on the back there? It's a bit of an imbalance here that I don't like. Okay, that can work. Then where would the thermometer go? Can't go onto that thing. It could potentially fit in the middle here somewhere. So at least the rover is still usable for more than just getting Kerbals from A to B. There's a scientific value to it, which is really what I want. Okay, comrades, let's leave it like this for now. We can spend eternity rearranging it in all sorts of different shapes, but at the end of the day, we just want to get the basics in place here. Now let's get the other antenna. So there was another one right about here, I would say. Now that would of course be the low gain antenna. The controls. Actually, no, I want to rotate this thing. No! So the flat side is on the flat side of the panel. Now moving this in is not going to work because we can't really hide it, but maybe at least make it a little less obtrusive. No, I don't like this sort of thing. Although, on the balance again, it's not too terrible. It's either that or having the whole thing... no, we'll have the whole thing sticking out there. But that's as close as I can get it. Still, I don't like that little piece clipping there. This is... oh, it's driving me nuts, this one, this Rover, for some reason. Is there not a better way? That's a better way. That's a better way. We'll leave it like that, comrades. At least now it looks like it's attached to the side there and not sort of clipping somewhere. Okay, then of course if we extend that, what does that look like? Okay, that goes super tall. Maybe if I can look at the image that I saw of that, it's actually lower than the front dish there. I suppose that's the lowest I can make it. Man, this control. Now we're again off center here on our view, but that's one of those things. Okay, that will work, comrades, that will work. So it is still higher than the dish, but that's at least not so bad. Now, I think that's basically it. There's not really much more we want to add to this thing. All that we can do now is just do an actual practice test and just turn off the motor on the front wheels. Brakes and traction, I might actually turn the traction up because otherwise this thing, but then again, is traction not auto? It is actually. Traction control is automatic, so we don't want to mess with that. So I'll leave all of that stuff. We can mess with it on the moon itself as well. I just want the motors on the front to be off, otherwise this thing is going to be taking off with too much speed here. So let's put a decoupler on the back. Well, this is going to be very ugly and all of that, but that doesn't matter now. Just a test. We'll use one of the Gemini pods and then, of course, 2 test volunteers, Jeb and Bill. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, brakes. First of all, let's just turn on the brakes now. EVA and just get into the seat. Okay, he's not clipping into the back panel there. That's a good thing. EVA and get into the other seat. Okay, just detach. Oh, it's gonna go. Brakes off, move away. It's because of the clipping there. No way, it's just gonna detach. Alright, well, let's just have a look. So they're not clipping into each other and their packs are not clipping into the back panel. So I think the seating position is actually nice now. And now we can see this panel does look more like the back of the seat itself, given the scale there. So I like this, comrades. I think we're pretty much done with the Rover. Let's just revert again and see if we can fix the problem we just had there. I do want to drive around with it a little bit. Okay, we'll just make it hang off magically there. Okay, EVA please, and get into that yonder seat over there, and the same with the other one. Still would one day really like the feature that we can start with the Kerbals in the seats, but okay, not a big problem there. So now they're on the moon and they're driving around. At least the dish is not obscuring their view there. And oof, the turns are giving me headaches, comrades. The turns are extreme here. Luckily this thing has a decent suspension. Because we're not going very fast, but now suddenly you turn there. You can really risk flipping this thing. So we'll have to be very careful once we're... See there. Once we're actually driving with it. It's got too much power almost. Okay, just don't flip it. Now if I say no steering on the back, what's the difference? You see, much more stable. Definitely, there's still a risk of flipping it, but I think less of a risk. You see, turning at my hardest now at about 8 meters per second and not flipping it over. But let's turn on the steering on the back again and just slow down to about 8 and do a turn and we flip. So, that can get nasty. No, we're going to turn off the steering on the back wheels, comrades, just for practicality again. I don't want people killing their Kerbals unnecessarily. Although I should add, it's never necessary to kill your Kerbals, so you never should do that. But steering disabled, it's just better that way. You know, on the moon we're going to slip around even more. So now the last question is, do we keep it white or do we go to grey? I think... let me just find another picture. In this one, it's as white as the spacesuit. So no, we'll keep it white. That's probably the best. So that's it, comrades. The rover is basically finished. I'm happy with it. Of course, it doesn't need to do too much. We just need to get around there. The battery still worries me, though. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get enough distance there. Of course, technically you're supposed to stay within walking distance of the LEM in case the rover breaks or we flip it for some reason. But I just want to do one last test and just see how quickly we drain the battery. Okay, let's drive and just have a look here. So we're 401, 400. It's going quite fast. 497, but now I'm taking my finger off the throttle here, so we can still keep going without using more power. I think it'll be enough. Of course it's going to slow down now, but this is how you can cover longer distances, of course. Now if you turn, you just have to do it very gradually, but it is possible not to flip it now. And drive back the other way without using too much more power. I think that will work, comrades. Why are we skew like this? Is the suspension not the same? That's impossible. Is it just because of the weight of this thing? Let me revert back to the launch and just see what happens. Well, okay, now it does look fine from this angle. I've just relaunched now. If I make a turn though... No, now it's fine again. Strange. Must have been something from that turn that I did. No, now it's balanced again. Okay, never mind that. Okay, revert. So if I just take this now off, are we happy with the back here? Of course I can't recreate the real thing with its sort of storage bags and all of that. This will have to do. How much does that weigh, that scanning module? Oh, 5 kilograms, barely anything at all. So that will do, comrades. We are finished with the rover. I'm just going to save again. But now, in this episode still, I want to send it to the moon, to our designated landing site, because it needs to be there by the time that we launch the actual Apollo mission. And we can just do a quick test here. If I save this as a sub-assembly... Now, how am I going to do this again? So we want a decoupler on the bottom. Now, I have saved this again. And I just attach it to the middle there. We're just going to see what this thing looks like once it's attached to the LEM. I can't put it on the middle there. Oh well, it's gonna have to sit there for now. Then I would like to have another one down there, and it's just doesn't matter because I'm gonna reroute now. So that was the route, and now I'm saying the bottom is the route, and then I just take everything above that and put that into the sub-assembly. Now I've already got a rover there, that was from my other test, so I'll say this is tutorial rover, just so we know which is which. And now I'm just going to go back to the VAB, which we can of course do easily now here. Ah, how easy is that, comrades? So let's load up the LEM there, so that will be the whole Saturn 1B thing, the MEM, and then of course I'll just throw the rocket away here. And now we have our lander. But now where are we going to attach a rover? That's the problem. I didn't even see now what the rover actually weighed. But I would imagine the last time I looked for the test it was about 700 kilograms, which is a lot more than the real thing. But now look at the size of that. That's half, or no, it's not even half. That's almost the whole length of the actual lander. So many billions of attachment points. Okay, let's just throw it on there as an example. Now, it's clipping into everything there. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, well, we could work with that. Okay, I'm just putting it like that for now, because the wheels, of course, we can retract them, but then they're even more in the way. So I'll probably have to attach it from the other side. But anyway, if we do this now, let's have a look at the torque of the engine. So we're going to have a look at the center of thrust and the center of mass. You can very clearly see they're not balanced anymore. So of course the top stage won't matter, but the bottom one is the main one. So that will be, actually we must put the engine there first. So now we're going to see the real thing. 0.17 kilonewton meters, or some, whatever that M stands for. But now that doesn't seem that much, but it actually will burn our monopropellant the whole time as the craft tries to stabilize itself. And that doesn't look very nice. We can of course fold this up as well, but no, this looks awful, awful, awful. I could never support that. Let's just have a look at the 3.5 meter fairing thing. It wouldn't even fit inside that. It's going to clip out of the fairings. So we'll send this separately, comrades. It's just more practical that way. Of course, if you want to try putting this on here, but then of course you'll have to put on a counterweight, which will obviously then also have to detach and then sort of try and balance the mass there. It is possible like that, I'm sure, but it's not going to look very nice because we can't fold that thing into the size of one of these side panels. It's not possible, even with the foldable wheels. And the other thing that bothers me about this is the thruster fires directly into the rover, so it will cancel itself out, or it should at least. But anyway, no, let's not do this. So now we need a delivery mechanism to send the rover to the moon. Now what would they have used if they had to send the rover to the moon anyway in real life? It would probably be a Titan 3C or something like that. Although we could just be very simple now. Instead of trying to build a new rocket, let's use our existing Saturn 1B and then just put another stage on. Because it weighs a lot less than the LEM here or the CSM that we launched before. I think so. We'll do that. I'm not going to build another new rocket now. The focus is still on Apollo. So don't save that. Just load the Saturn 1B. Doesn't matter. I guess the MEM one is the same as the other one anyway. So we'll just take that, but now take the, of course, the plate there I might want to keep. How would I do this now? Okay, dump this. Now we need some kind of a sky crane, I think. Something very simple. But now the rover is not going to work properly. Let's just do a very small test here. Because the attachment point is on the bottom now, not on the top. What if I just load it? Merge. Then we do have access to one of the nodes on the front there, but now this looks horrendously awful. How on earth would we do this? We could do a sort of a thing like the Lunar Roving and have a lander that goes beneath it and then detaches the thing. What would be best though? I think the sky crane is still the better idea because I don't want to leave other things on the moon. So now we need something that's going to be smaller even than this. Unless I attach to that. No, it's not going to work like that. Let me think about this for a minute, comrades. Okay, I just switched back into the spaceplane hangar and I just attached the decoupler to the top of this back panel here. I think that will just work better. I know it's not perfectly centered, so maybe we just have to play around with that a little bit. So the mass is actually only 473 kilos, which is less than my test one because we only have one battery on there. We could have, oh good grief, we could of course add more batteries. Should we though? I don't think so. It's not really necessary. Just want to move this thing now. We can use struts to make it look sort of plausible at least. Then, of course, I'll also make this available in the Dropbox for you if you want to use this to get your rover to the moon. But I'll be very interested to see people's examples of how they attached this or other rovers to the actual MEM lander, because I'd still like to see if there's a satisfactory way of doing that. You know, we could sneak another battery in here, plus it will sort of offset the mass of that surface scanning module a little bit. Now I don't know if we want the light sticking out there, but that probably doesn't matter. Okay, that can work, or can it? The battery is sort of clipping into the thing. Making it more difficult again. Then again, a bit of extra power never hurt anybody. As long as those actual batteries don't clip into equipment and all of that, I can still live with that, even if it clips into the strut there, because we can pretend the strut was bent around it. But let's just see, is it gonna... Mumbling like a mad scientist here. Does that look satisfactory? That's the real question. I'm not sure if I want this light on the back, although it can sort of indicate again the thing is working here. But no, I don't know. There is no right or wrong now, because obviously we can't recreate the real thing. What if I move it in a bit more though? You still get a light sticking out. No, the battery's not going to work because now it's sticking out of the bottom again. No, we'll just leave it like that. One battery is enough. Let's keep it simple. Now in this case I might as well probably keep the antenna deployed like that because it will be narrower to fit inside the fairing. Now we just of course want to build a basic sky crane. Now this is not going to be too fancy, comrades. This will be just a very basic design here. What about something like this? I know they do have the sky crane that they built for one of the stock rockets here. Just find that one, which I again never use either, the Rover and Sky Crane. Now their Sky Crane uses a lot of these external twitch engines and then pipes, and has a very industrial look to it. I'm not sure if I want to replicate that though. What if we just take this? This is after all just an adapter, so we can pretty much imagine that it's hollow there. And then we put some fuel into that. This is now of course nothing like the real thing, so lots of creative license being used here. Just put it in like that and then use one of these tanks on the top. So it looks sort of decent, doesn't have all this stuff hanging around there. Then we just need, I would guess, probably the same, maybe the same kind of engines, the twitch. We don't need 4 though. We could get away with 2, I think. That will give us 1.8 kilometers per second, which is enough to send this whole thing to the moon. And land it, which is probably for the best. We could be even extra and add some more fuel to this. Then this will be our transit stage as well. Now I don't want to clip it into the other tank though. Just like that. Of course we need a probe core as well. No. Probe core is necessary. We'll use the basic probe-a-dobe-dime, but now we also need RCS as well. Again, reaction wheels, gonna try and stay away from. So let's put a tank on top of that, or we could use the smaller ones. No, we'll use a tank. Ah, come on. And, of course, just move this in. Now that's way too much, so of course we're going to take some out of there. The center of mass is now still in the middle there, so we'll just use basic thruster blocks, I suppose, for this. Now those ports are clear there. This thing will be firing into the antenna though, so maybe we should move them up a little. We can try that. Now we'll need some batteries here as well. This thing is not going to run on solar. Although we could do that, but again it would be a sort of it's not anachronistic because they did have satellites running on solar by the time of the Apollo mission, so I don't know if we should just do that. Or we could just throw a big battery on. Why not? Although we are running out of Delta V now. We'll just put this thing on hibernate. Now, no, that will not do. That will not do. We'll use one of those. Now what? More fuel. I'm building the Tower of Babel here just to get the thing to the moon. Let's see. Another one. Thinking, is this really enough though? No, let's just use a normal tank. Because at the end of the day, I want to land in a very specific place. So 1.7 kilometers will do, I think. So we'll just use those for the descent and the normal burn to the moon. And then, of course, the RCS for stability. So I think that will do, comrades. We just need some struts to make this thing semi-plausible. But the struts need to attach to the top, otherwise they're going to be left behind when we separate. One more on the back. Okay, this is a quick and dirty solution, comrades, but it is a solution. So let's take, good grief, take this thing now and load up the Saturn 1B. Don't save, just merge. Just remember to merge. Okay, now get rid of the, just grab this. Where do I want to... No, actually the engine. No, it has to be the rocket. Just want to get that plate. It's a bit difficult with the ghost. Just grab the that thing and then grab the plate. So now where is this going to attach? Can it attach somewhere to the middle? What am I doing? What the heck am I doing? Okay, we'll move it, it's fine. No, it can't move now. What the... Okay, attach it there and then say a bit further away and then move it. No, it just totally doesn't care. How can I get it to attach right on the middle there? Doesn't want to use those middle attachment points. Now, of course, moving this will cause it to instantly go to the top again for some weird reason, and then it won't move back down. Well, I suppose then we'll just use a normal decoupler and then move that. Here we go, roughly. This one doesn't matter too much because the rocket weighs a lot more than the rover. Oh, come on. Just so it doesn't do anything weird when it detaches. Now I need the plate which is under the coupling. There we go, comrades. At least I know more or less where it is now. Though it doesn't matter. We can just search for it, of course. Shroud and small like that. That will do. And then, of course, the rest of the thing over that. And it almost looks like it's good to go as it is. Now, of course, again, for plausibility's sake, we'll just add 2 there and then maybe 2 on this side as well. Okay, there. Now at least it's semi-plausible again. Now let's just get... I'm not going to worry about putting the plate into the fairing now. I just want to edit the fairing a little bit so we know it has enough clearance. There, so this will do. I'm sure this will do. Just close that. I'll save this here as well as the tutorial Lunar Roving Vehicle Sky Crane, which of course includes the rocket. So save that and then move this back up. And I'm still not too satisfied about these engines, but I've tried other configurations as well, like 2 of the Bobcats, no, 4 of them, because we need 8 nozzles, but it's not powerful enough, so we'll just have to keep it with the vector engines. But okay, so are we happy here? That separates, that fires, then this, then the fairings go, then that detaches, then those fire. Well, actually, no, we don't need to worry about the plate. The plate doesn't have to be staged again. Then that thing will go, then that one. No, wait. Yes, that's it. Save again. And let's go to the moon, comrades. I will speed this whole process up just because I've already seen a construction here now, so we just need to get to the moon. Once we're in orbit, I will discuss our plans for landing. Comrades, I'm just going to interject here. I've used the S4B, it still had fuel remaining, and of course that's what it's made for a moon insertion burn anyway. So it's actually fallen short by 7.9 meters per second. I've gone for a free return trajectory, but this is actually perfect because now it will impact the moon and of course remove the space debris. So let's detach now. And of course things go a little bit crazy here. Let's just burn forward and see if we can complete this burn. At 19 kilometers, that's perfect. Turn off the RCS. And of course that's it now. The stage there, S4B, is just going to impact the moon like it's supposed to anyway. And I just want to find this and put it on hibernation. I'll say auto, so at least during the warp it's not going to cause any problems. So now we still have basically all the fuel and we can continue with the journey. Comrades, we are here. Now I'm just going to have to do some housekeeping because I've still got things floating around here from various tests that I've done. So of course we don't want to see all this junk flying around here. So I'm just going to reclassify that as debris. Okay, we are back, comrades, but okay, I didn't put this relay on debris now, but there's the one that didn't want to cooperate, and that's a rover that I landed. This is the test one that I showed you. I actually landed this on the moon attached to the LEM. This was now a much earlier version of the LEM, but that just went all sorts of horrible ways, so the whole thing crashed there. We can actually go and visit that, because this is the area that I want to land. Now I have to warn comrades, there's an Easter egg there that I want to visit, so if you don't want to see the Easter egg, you should probably avoid watching the rest of the video. It is the memorial there. I'll say the name now, so if you're not gone by now, I assume you're interested. If you don't know about it anyway, it's the Neil Armstrong Memorial. I mean, come on, that's the perfect place to go and visit if we're doing the Apollo recreation. So that is in this general vicinity. Now, it doesn't matter that we're too precise, because we are going to have the rover anyway. I just want us to change the inclination now a little bit. Now, where would we do that? Oh, the control is locked because we're on the other side of the moon. Add maneuver, just so we go over that. Actually, that is a really good place to use as a marker, although we don't have to. Okay, something like that. Let's just get back to the target. This will be a very brief burn. And just speed up again. I'm using the better burn time mod again. It has been updated, it seems. Okay, burn and stop. That's good enough. And then we just have to wait. At least it's day there now, so we will be able to see what's happening. Okay, good enough. I'll use that as a target, but it's not exactly where we want to go. I missed the target because of all the wobbling, because of the imbalance in the mass that I had. We'll just set it as a rough target. So let's go all the way around, and I'll just quick save this as well. Okay, whoa, getting too close there. F5. Okay, now things get serious. So retro, please, and initiate the burn. 3, 2, 1, go. We're a bit high up, but okay, it's not too bad. You can see there's actually other debris there. Oh, there's the flag that I planted at the memorial site. Oh well, I'll just remove that before our actual landing. No need to see two flags there. Okay, that will take us quite close. Let's do another burn there. Still very high up though. Actually, I can't set that flag as a target, or can I? No, I can. Okay, so now we can sort of try a little bit better. Maybe it's a good thing it was there. For the main event, I'll use the rover as our target. Don't want to land on top of it though. This will be close enough. Impact in 27 seconds, 28. This is a very good mod because it tells you exactly when you should burn. 8 seconds, that's the suicide burn, but if we wait until 8 seconds before, it's going to slow down anyway, so it'll be more than 8 seconds, but that's a bit risky for me. Target, let's switch to orbit. Okay, just don't want to land in the crater there. Still should have enough fuel. Let's just turn off the retro target. Good grief, what am I doing? Let's hope we have enough monopropellant. Oh. Okay, back to retro. And we see, just don't want to land in a really bad spot here. Switch to surface, actually. Okay, that should be fine now. Alright, 5 units of monopropellant left, but we are almost on top of the memorial now. So we don't even need the rover, for goodness sake, but we must have it. We can explore the wreckage of my failed attempt there when we do the main landing. That should be interesting. Slow down. Not that much. Five units. Now I must remember to detach at the right time. Okay, F5 again. Brakes are on. Touchdown in 6 seconds. Let's keep it about 2 meters per second. Or less. There we are, safe and sound. Let's just get rid of this thing. That should do. Of course, I can't switch away now. Oh well, we can watch the crash. But the rover was delivered very safe and sound there. Wonder if we could boost this even higher, then it will let us switch away. Okay, map view, of course. Switch to. Let's see if the rover is fine. And the rover is in one piece, comrades, right next to the Apollo, well, it's really the Neil Armstrong memorial there. But okay, so this phase of the mission is thereby completed, comrades, and I think despite a lot of bumbling there, this actually looks really nice. I'm very happy with how this turned out. It's much better this way than to have that big blocky girder segment on the back. So yes, now it's on to the next phase, which is the next video, which will be the whole Saturn V, putting that together. That should be another marathon. But then, of course, after that, we do the last episode, which is the landing. So I hope you've enjoyed, comrades. Let me know what you think about this rover. Does it at least more or less get the sort of outline right? I'm very happy with it. But anyway, comrades, you'll find it in the Dropbox as always. So see you next time and have a safe landing. I won't say fly safe like Scott Manley. I think we should put the emphasis on the landing. So safe landing, comrades, and have a fantastic day.